see if I can restart this here. Hey guys. So I was watching the last video. This is another Exigency Advice, by the way. I'm gonna keep it simple this time because I was checking out the analytics of the last one, and a lot of you guys you didn't like the build up. You didn't like the build up I did to the end where the advice finally came, which is fine. I haven't earned the right to drag you guys along for 15 minutes. I gotta keep my videos 5 minutes or less because that seems to be the average length. But you guys definitely were skipping through it to the end, as well as a few people I talked to who actually watched it. Not that there was a lot of viewers for me to know, but I'll keep this one short. I'll get straight to the point. This one just basically human nature. The length that you should be willing to go for someone else, and the length that they will go for you on average. Obviously not everybody's the same. Basically, if you're one of those people who put yourself out there for everyone, you just really shouldn't. You just really shouldn't do that. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why pretty quickly. I'm gonna use an example to do it. So I'm gonna use one that we can all agree on. So everybody, well, mostly everybody, there's not everybody out there would agree to what I'm saying or make the decision I'm saying, but I'm going to say that most people would, especially when we're talking strangers and even sometimes when we're talking friends. But it's the kind of people that are on this world, and I'm not talking about like a small amount of people, I'm talking about majority, which is why I'm talking about what you should be willing to do for other people and versus what you should expect from other people. So essentially, we all know the example. If I, say I present you a button. Say I present to you a little button, little red button. Where the fuck? There's my camera. It's right under my speaker. Say I present to you a little red button, right? And I say, if you push this button, someone somewhere random dies, but in exchange for pushing the button, you get $1 million, That's, pretty much everyone in the world, I would say. Most people will do that. And the argument really is, it doesn't have to be a button for most people, I don't think. For most people, you could realistically, and it doesn't even have to be $1 million. Most people would take a lot less. Most people would take as little as $5,000 to do something like that. So I just cut out because I got off track. I'm back. So we're back to the whole button scenario. So what I'm saying is, a lower amount of money and a more hands-on task is what most people would do to get what they want for themselves, and they do it negatively to potentially you, and you the same to them in a lot of ways. So say I knock, well, I'll just use myself as the character, but say I knock on your door, right? Say I knock on your door and I just present myself with a white van outside on the front, and I say, I'm going to give you $10,000, no strings attached, and let's just say, for the sake of it, so you don't have to worry about risk versus reward here. In this scenario, you can't go to jail. You're legally free. Like I'm there with the fucking judge. I'm there with the president of the United States, whoever that is at the time you're watching this video. Whether it's now or later. I'm there with the president of the United States, and they're like, you can legally do this. And so basically what I'm saying is, I'd pay you, there's a guy in this white van, and all you have to do is look him in the eyes point blank and shoot him in the head while I watch, most people, I believe, would actually do that still. Like, a good chunk, like, even if any number over 50% is a lot of people. Any number over 50% is most, you know, so. And so that's really brings me to my topic of why you shouldn't overextend yourself for everyone. Because odds are, you know, someone you're probably overextending yourself for is someone who would do that to you. They'd shoot you point blank in the head while you look at, like, without consequences for a small measly, you know, $10,000. You know, they'd accept that. They'd live with that for $10,000, and then they'd probably go blow it on, like, designer clothes, and it'd be gone. They'd take your life for, like, probably knowing, like, the average person isn't good with money, so they'd take your life for the equivalent of, you know, a really good week in their life, because most people would probably just go blow that money right away. We don't have a lot of savers and investors on the planet. Most people are probably just gonna blow all that money within weeks, i.e. like the lottery and whatnot. So that's just something to keep in mind. And this kind of brings us to the one, you might be like this, but two, like, you know, if you're already like this, then you're not extending yourself overly for anyone. But when it comes to extending yourself, just keep in mind when you're helping someone that they could potentially be someone who would take up such an offer, right? And I'm using a very low amount as the reward, and I'm using currency, right? Maybe it's not currency, maybe it's like their celebrity crush, you know, a night with the, you know, because, you know, when you present such things, you can present really the wildest fantasies. You can present a car, you can present their dream car to them, you can present a night with your favorite celebrity. They're gonna fucking, you know, obviously most perverts want to fuck their celebrity crush, you know. The question is, are they gonna shoot you in the head for the privilege to do that? Obviously, hypothetically, but you have to understand this is something that we have to think about when we're thinking about our average humans and human behavior. So it's probably something you have to think about before you. And I'm not saying be a dick and don't do anything for people because they'd fucking kill you for 10K or $1 million. Even if it's $1 million, that's like not that much. But most people would do it. I mean, you'd be brain dead not to kill a dog for $1 million, I'll be honest. You'd be brain dead not to kill it for $10,000, no consequences. Well, at least I think so. You know, you can kind of see where my morality is. You got a lot of people probably might watch and be like, oh my god. Say you have a friend, and this friend just always wants something from you, right? And you're always like, because it could be your mom and your dad could even be ones like this, or your brother and sister. Like, it could even be your own siblings who would like take such an egregiously low offer in comparison to your life, right? Especially like for them. Like, for most of you, I know this is something a lot of people wouldn't want to admit, and it's a situation most of us don't really find ourselves in life, but we see it all the time. We see it all the time where husbands and wives kill each other for life savings or life insurance, right? And let's be honest here, life insurance is roughly $500,000 to $1 million, right? That's the average life insurance policy is $500,000, let's say. And, you know, unless we're talking like wealthy people, and even then it's like, why would you do that to your significant other when you're already wealthy? And that's the thing, it's weird. You gotta understand, you're on this rock with people who are like that, and it's not a small amount, it's most of them. They just don't know it yet. It's kind of like if you've ever read The Dark Heart, right? But when you look at it like this, through this sort of lens of rewards, right? It's you realize maybe it's actually not so hard. you realize it's not so hard for someone to kind of sort of have their dark heart activated, so to speak, because the whole point of the dark heart is that all man and woman, I guess, all humans are capable of the greatest evils if put in the right scenario. Most people, that scenario, that greatest evil is like a dollar amount. It's literally just a dollar amount. And when you talk, I mean, I guess that's a whole different other point when you think about it, because I was gonna say, when we talk about the dark heart being that easy to access, it's sort of a separate point. But when you talk about like the wealthy elite, the billionaires of the world, the dark heart is really like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to them, because they can to pay someone to do such like horrific things is like nothing to them, and wouldn't cost much realistically. You're dealing with people who would kill you for like a very like minuscule amount. You know what I mean? They would take your life. The average person would take your life, maybe even do worse, right? So when you're really like thinking of others, it's always important too, but you got to remember that the vast majority of people around you probably, under these scenarios that I'm giving, would probably not do that for you. Everybody likes to be nice to each other on the face. Everybody likes to be nice to each other when they're on camera. Every television show you watch, every news station, whatever you're watching, it tries to fill you with this sense of human love and human kindness and compassion, but it completely ignores the id and consistently only focuses on the superego. And this is something that will probably get you hurt in the long run if you don't understand that every human has an id and not just a superego and ego. So just think about that next time you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna bail Jerry out for the 50th time. I'm gonna go post bail for my brother again. Like, oh, I'm gonna loan Todd from high school, my high school best friend. I'm gonna loan him his rent money again. I'm gonna drive him across town to pick up his car that he got impounded. It's like, to a degree, obviously you should help out your friends and family, but it's like, if it's a consistent thing and you see multiple red flags from them, where maybe just ask them this. If you're a guy anyway, I don't know what the equivalent for a girl would be, to be honest. I think I'll say why in a second, but if you're a guy, just say to your friend or your family, just say, your genital, I guess for a woman, but be like, my life or your cock and balls, which one would you pick? That's a really good way to put it in life, because when you talk to pretty much any random stranger on the planet, you're gonna find a trend that in the grand scheme of things, in the public eye, in the eye of the masses, you are less valuable than pretty much every single cock and balls on the planet. So that's actually probably the best way to put it. That's all I have for today, guys. I'll keep it short. I'll cut out the useless droning. I've only got about 20 minutes of raw footage, so I've got it down this time. The last video and this video aren't really like truly my cinematic abilities. It's just I've still got to get some more equipment, some more lenses, some more basically some lenses and some mics. Get some things going so I can actually kind of film the kind of things I want, the actual real bits I want. I have a very interesting style, but basically what you saw in my last video was I had some energy. I kind of had like a funny joke in my head, and I dragged it out. It was pretty funny, but to be honest, you did. I feel like you either have to be really close to me to get it, and also be like on my level of humor, while at the same time understanding like credit and car sales humor, because that's really what that video was. that's about all I have for today, guys. So thanks for watching if you watched, and just keep that in mind before you try too hard to like make others' lives better.